Homer wrote the epic poem The Iliad, which tells the story of the Trojan War. The poem is written in a dactylic hexameter and is made up of 24 books. The Iliad is a long, complicated work that looks at many different ideas and themes, such as what it means to be a hero, what honor is, who the gods are, and how war affects people and societies. At the beginning of the poem, Achilles, the best Greek fighter, and Agamemnon, the leader of the Greek army, have a fight. Agamemnon takes Achilles' gift, a girl named Briseis, and keeps her for himself. This makes Achilles angry, and he leaves the war. This event sets the stage for the 10-year battle between the Greeks and the Trojans. Hector, the oldest son of King Priam, leads the Trojans, and their gods, like Apollo, who sends a plague on the Greeks. Agamemnon, Menelaus, Odysseus, and Achilles are in charge of the Greeks. Many troops die in the battles between the Greeks and the Trojans in the first few books of the Iliad. In these fights, the warriors' bravery, skill, and loyalty to their leaders are on display. We also see how powerful the gods are, since they help both sides of the war by favoring certain warriors and changing the way fights go. For example, when the Trojans are losing the fight, Apollo helps them by destroying the wall that the Greeks have built to protect themselves. The gods have their own fights and battles, which often affect the lives of people. As the war goes on, Achilles stays away and doesn't want to fight. His absence hurts the Greek army a lot, and they lose a lot of men without him. Hector and the other Trojans are still fighting hard, trying to get the Greeks out of their city. When Achilles' friend Patroclus is killed by Hector, the song takes a turn for the worse. Achilles is finally pushed back into the fight by this event. He wants to get back at those who killed his friend. Achilles gets new armor from the god Hephaestus. He then goes into a killing rage and kills a lot of Trojan soldiers. The most important part of the poem is the last fight between Achilles and Hector. Achilles kills Hector after a long and brutal fight, and his body is dragged around the city of Troy as a sign of shame. The Trojan War is over when this happens, and the Greeks can finally go home. In the whole poem, we see how important pride and glory were to the warriors. They fight not only to keep themselves alive but also to protect their masters and their family's honor. We also see how the gods, who are often unexpected and arbitrary, can step into the lives of people and change the way things turn out. The Iliad isn't just a story about war, it's also a story about how war affects people and groups. We see how terrible war is for both the Greeks and the Trojans, as towns are destroyed and families are torn apart. The poem also asks important questions about what it means to be a hero and how much it costs to seek glory and respect. Achilles is the perfect example of a hero, but his quest for honor kills many of his friends and, in the end, brings about his own downfall. The way the gods are shown in the Iliad is one of its most interesting parts. They are shown to have human-like feelings and goals, and they often interfere in the lives of mortals in random and unpredictable ways. The gods are also shown to be part of the Iliad since they have their own rivalries and alliances that often match those of the people. Homer uses the gods to talk about what it's like to be human. The gods are not just supernatural beings, they are also images of what it's like to be human. Fate and destiny are also very important ideas in the Iliad. All through the poem, the characters are shown to be at the mercy of things they can't control, like the gods, fate, or their own flaws and weaknesses. Achilles, for example, knows he will die young, but he still chooses to go after glory and honor, even though he knows it will lead to his death. The many prophecies and oracles that are given throughout the poem, which often tell what will happen in the future, also show the idea of fate. The Iliad is not only about these things, but it is also a very beautiful and poetic work. Homer's descriptions of fights, landscapes, and people are vivid and powerful, and his language is often ornate and full of details. The poem also has a lot of memorable characters, like Odysseus, Achilles, and Hector, who are all complicated and have many sides. Overall, the Iliad is a literary classic that people still study and think about today. It is a work that looks at many important ideas and themes, such as what it means to be a hero, how powerful fate is, how war affects people and groups, and what part the gods play in human affairs. It is also a work of great beauty and poetry, with vivid descriptions and memorable personalities that keep readers interested even today.